Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we just ask you, Lord, to bless the family of the young man who has passed away. And we ask you, Lord, to guide and direct us through this meeting, that the decisions made will be in the best interest of the people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Yes, sir. Jody Fishing Hot. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Bill Anglin.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird. Julia Coates.
Here.
Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright. Present. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Tina Glory Jordan. Present. Lee Keener. Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell. David Thornton. David Walkingstick. Kara Cowan Watts. We do that with quorum.
Entertain approval of the minutes for the May 13th PAC subcommittee and the May 30th regular session of the AMF.
Make a motion to be approved.
Approved in second. Second by Council Fishing Hot. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And now move to the reports. Madam Treasurer.
Good afternoon, Tribal Council. I'm going to pass out the single audits. Just look this way and this way.
Go ahead and sit.
Well, my chair just switched. And if our new chairman would oblige the auditor, BKD, Joel Hauser, to join me, we'll walk you through the single audit.
He can do so.
Thank you.
Councilors, my name is Joel Hauser. I'm an auditor with BKD, and we perform a single audit of the nation's federal award programs. And if you wouldn't mind, I was going to take a brief moment to try to explain, and kind of we don't do a very good job as auditors, as a profession, explaining exactly what we do. The nation, as a recipient of federal awards, is required by the Office of Management and Budget from the federal government to undergo a single audit. And it's basically a single audit act. It's in the federal government's statutes that this be done. And essentially, the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, has specific criteria that we have to follow and test of the nation's federal programs. We focus only on the large programs, and it goes through rotation about every 3 years. And we'll pick programs based on this guidance and do a audit of specific requirements that the federal government asks us to look at. And so what we do is we issue an opinion on these compliance requirements, and that's really what consists of this report. We audited 5 programs this year, and I can't remember all off the top of my head, but we didn't have any significant issues to report. We classify our findings into 3 different levels. We have material weaknesses, which are the worst, significant deficiencies, which are not quite as bad, and then we have deficiencies. This year we did have 1 significant deficiency to report, which does get reported to the federal government with the NAHASDA program, the Indian housing. There was a HUD report, Housing and Urban Development federal report, that's supposed to be filed annually. There was kind of a mix-up. There was some change in personnel, and the report didn't get filed. There wasn't anything significant really with it other than filing zeros, but it has to be noted in this audit. And so, kind of a brief introduction of what it is. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I may have to research and get back to you, but I'm always here to answer questions. So.
We may not have many questions today.
Okay.
Because we just received the report, but I'm sure we will in the future. So I'm leaving it up to the committee. Anybody have any questions or comments? Councilor Blake?
Thank you, Chief. On the significant deficiency of NAHASDA and Amana County. So I want to ask if the may affect federal award programs?
Typically not. It's material non-compliance is the worst, and if any of those get issued, it could impact federal funding, but typically significant deficiencies do not. It's just more, we'll get it filed, we'll get it corrected, and usually won't have an impact.
Any other questions for our financial report? Thank you, Will. We probably have some later.
Okay. And I can always come back if you need me back next month, just let me know.
Britt, would you briefly just state your full name?
Sure, it's Stephen Joel Hazard. Joel, go by Joel.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then the management letter, which has not been passed out, also has a couple of communications from the auditors, all of which are easily clearable. We've already put plans in place to address, and it, I know you don't have those in front of you, but
I can go through, yeah.
do you want to go through these really quickly?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Well, I'll have Joel explain.
Okay, again, as part of our communication with our audit of the financial statements, which I think was presented last month, and the single audit, we kind of did two separate audits. We issued one management letter, and essentially what it is communication to governance for the legislature of items that are required to be reported. We do, for the nation, we kind of do a joint, called an audit committee letter, which is to governance, and the management letter, which would typically just go to management. We combine it in one letter so everybody has access to all the issues that we know during the audit. And we classify our deficiencies into three buckets. It's the same as before. We've got material weaknesses, which are the worst. Significant deficiencies, which not quite as severe, but still need to be communicated. And then we have deficiencies. And lastly, we as a firm have other matters, just kind of constructive criticism, things we see throughout our municipal government, tribal government practices that to kind of recommend. Those are not required to be reported. We just do it as a firm. We have only required to report material weaknesses and significant deficiencies to government with our auditing standards. And again, we didn't have any related to the financial statements. We just had the one for NAHASDA for the single audit, which is referenced here in the letter. We did have some deficiencies, which again aren't required to be communicated, but we went ahead and included them in the letter. They are accounting entries mainly, some adjustments that needed to be made to financial statements to bring them up to audited accounting standards. We had retainage payable calculations was one of them. The entry wasn't recorded. And we're kind of recommending management review some significant estimates, which are part of financial statements. It's estimating liabilities, it's estimating if you're going to get sued, how much is that going to cost, health insurance claims that are out there that you don't know about. We go through some formulas, we go through some calculations. So we're kind of asking that management be involved a little bit more in outside departments that are responsible to bring these up. We did have an issue in a day training program with some allegations of misconduct. We recommended a perpetual inventory system be put in with the day training cards. Those are usually passed out at outline locations. So we kind of requested those be implemented. I believe that was all for the financial statements. Again, we classify it between financial statements and single audit. So we did have some deficiencies within the single audit with, I believe Davis-Bacon was one of the requirements required to audit. It is related to construction. Certified payrolls have to be submitted and approved by nation personnel. I had a little issue with one of those being submitted. And lastly, the Talking Leaves Job Corps Center. There were some changes with the Office of Inspector General for Department of Labor. And actually, they're the ones that got in trouble from the OIG. And so they passed down some requirements that flowed into the nation about self-certification, where the nation really wasn't responsible for these mishappenings. It just kind of filtered through the federal government. And so no longer self-certifications allowed in this program. There was one instance where a self-certification of an eligible participant was made after these regs came down, but it was related to timing. It took several months to go from the federal government down to the local establishments. And that was it as far as deficiencies. The last piece of the letter that you'll see are just called other matters. They're not deficiencies, or they're nothing as far as us finding something wrong. They're just more constructive criticism, things we see in practice that we would like, offer as suggestions to management to implement. And one of them is grant compliance. As the federal government and sequestration takes effect, they're going to start impacting federal funding, and it's going to start becoming more competitive. Those who are able to demonstrate that they can administer the federal money appropriately are probably going to get a bigger share of the grants. And so we've got some recommendations there. And lastly, for protection with the nation on its healthcare bonds, arbitrage is a very complex tax that could impact tax-exempt bonds. And one of the controls is to go ahead and do it's called an arbitrage calculation to make sure there's nothing owed to the IRS. And so we kind of recommended that happen. We have discussed with management. They've taken steps to remedy all of these issues. In fact, some of them have been remedied. And so that's, again, how the letter flows. But there's a lot of information, so as you get into it, if you've got questions, don't hesitate to contact me, contact Lacey, and we'll be sure to get them answered.
So, Mr. Chair, I know that this is a little bit of, a new direction here, but we wanted to provide this report to you, give this explanation to you so that you know what's going on. These are all things that have, if they've not already been cleared, are completely clearable. And this was a great audit, in my opinion, and Joel is here to attest that it is in comparison to past years as well, a very good audit. So
It is. We had no significant issues, nothing to report. We actually had a significant deficiency last year in our management letter regarding some accounts receivable in the healthcare area that was greatly improved this year. We were able to take that off. So, job well done.
Okay. A question from Councilor Garber.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for this good report. I think we did good.
It did good.
Do you happen to know a CPA by the name of Earl Hogan?
I don't.
He was in Tulsa for a long time.
Oh, okay. I just recently moved to Tulsa about 2 years ago from Fort Smith. I was on the other side of the nation.
Okay. His name was Earl Hogan.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Keenan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this report. And Joel, I guess we can contact you on this number on the BKD report.
Sure. I'll leave my contact information as well.
Okay.
Feel free to email, call me.
Okay. Was there a dollar amount associated with the management letter?
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
No dollar amounts.
Did the council get a copy of that management letter?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Speaker.
Excellent report, is very understandable, and I see on the two things that they've already been resolved.
Yes.
That apparently on the one, on the day work program, we were just actually paying out of the wrong accounts, what it looks like to me.
Well, there were two buckets to it. One was from the general fund, and then another, the NAHASDA allows a job training program to use that money for it. And there was some, I won't say discrepancies, but there were some.
There's always a question whether, if they've received housing services, are they always a participant, or does it end as a participant at the time that the services are terminated?
Correct.
I understand that is the question.
Right.
And HUD, honestly, they flip back and forth on that definition.
Yes, ma'am.
1 year they'll say, well, once you don't get rent from us anymore, you're no longer a participant. The next year they'll say, well, you're a participant for a lifetime if you receive services from us. I deal with the government a lot, and I see that they flip back and forth on definitions, which I think would make your job extremely hard on
Yes,
trying to
ma'am, it
figure
does.
out what are we doing this year. But it looks like it was a very small amount of 18 people that we helped on the day work program.
Yes.
And I certainly support the day work program, and I think probably a majority of us do support the day work program. And those people are the neediest of the needy. And we're trying to just get them through the day. So if we've only, out of the thousands of people, if we've only paid out of the wrong pot, 18 people, that's probably not too bad. And certainly I was glad to see that it's resolved. We put measures in place to make sure it never happens again. I applaud you all because you have literally run thousands of people through that program. And we've only had 18 that apparently have had some sort of little, this got paid out of the wrong pot. I mean, I know I'm making it very basic, but that's what it looks like.
That's essentially, yes, ma'am. It is difficult. The federal government, you could call one agency and get guidance, and it's totally different.
And they never want to give it to you in writing. They never want to say in writing, well, this is the way it's going to be, because next year it may change. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good report.
Thank you. With that said, we're still working on budgets for FY14. We will have those here by our constitutional deadline of July 31st. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Treasurer Horn, on your report, could you add contingency reserve, like as just every month on that report?
the cash reserve is at the same balance it was when we budgeted it at the beginning of the year. We did not tap into the cash reserve at all. It's fully funded at the legal limit.
Okay, so it's fluctuated then.
No, it does not fluctuate because it's set at the beginning of the year. It's based on the beginning of the year budget. There's an attorney general. And so, it would be near impossible to have fluctuate as the budget changes, but it's still in place, still intact, fully funded.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Thank you. Next report, Cherokee Nation Business, Mr. Sean Slayton.
Council. Reporting on the April financial results, we still continue to perform very well, especially compared to last year. I think we're up approximately 16 or 18% over last year's results. Doug did want me to convey that as we go forward through May through the end of the year, that because last year we received some business interruption checks that were booked that we won't be getting this year because the casino is back open, that would distort some of the results comparisons between last year and this year. So if you see that, that's really what's going on. We continue to focus on cost containment and driving revenue. Health costs are up this year. We've also done some highway improvements at Fort Gibson to that intersection. And when you do that, you can't give them to, I mean, if you don't own them, you have to give them to the state. So we have to recognize that on the P&Ls as well. Our projects are mostly wrapped up. We've got a few starting. We're going to renovate the Cherokee Tower, the original one. That's still going to remain Cherokee themed. It's been 8 years since that was completed, and they've taken care of it really well. And we're just at that point where now it's time to make it look better and spruce it back up, and we're going to give it a extreme makeover, and that will be starting very soon as well. A Terrell company was awarded that contract, or will be awarded that contract, and they'll be getting after it shortly. And that's about a $3 to $4 million project there. Like to, oh, wait.
Go ahead and finish your report. Give it questions.
Okay. Woodmark, report on that. We have moved most of the TRG TVs to Woodmark. There's still a concentration at Pryor. At last count, I think we were up to 50 people there now, and they're headed towards 100. There was a meeting today with TRG, and it was kind of a negotiating meeting. They want lower cost, and we want more revenue, and I think the end result of that was good and positive. I think when we end up there, I think the projection is right at 110 people, which will be about a creation of 80 new jobs from where it was in Pryor. That building is already almost at capacity. There were 43,000 TVs in there at last count, and or at last time they told me that. But I believe this week they have begun to ship those out. Walmart is now beginning to accept that. So if anybody needs a TV, like they said the other day, they're sold on Walmart.com, and they come with a better warranty than if you bought it new. So, and about half the price. So we encourage everybody to do that. And if you really want to help the cause, go buy a new one and then return it, and it just keeps our people working. And speaking of employment, our numbers continue to be high. We've continued to promote Cherokee hires. We are in desperate need of applications and Cherokee people to fill some of our jobs. Frontline jobs on food and beverage are always hard to maintain, and you know, we need all applications and all people that want to go to work. We'll do everything we can to get them employed. So if you have friends and acquaintances out in the job market that are looking for frontline work, especially food and beverage, especially if they're Cherokee cooks, we really need them. Diane and her group are really on this, and they've done a job fair last week at Catoosa. We actually had 2 there. I believe we had 59 or 57 Cherokees apply. 27 got hired. They're getting me a list of why the others didn't, but I think it was because they didn't want to work third shift, they didn't want to work in food and beverage, or this, that, and the other. But we're pretty much employing everybody that is willing and able and wants to work and do a good job. But we need your help and everybody's help actually in getting a new group in. Over the past year, we've added probably another 200 jobs to the mix in terms of food and beverage and housekeeping, and those are physically demanding jobs. So, you know, sometimes people wear out and get tired and things like that. So, just in general, those 2 industries have a high rate of turnover, whether it's Kentucky Chicken or Charlie's Chicken or Sonic or whatever. But the food and beverage industry is always hard to staff. So anything you can do or people that you can refer, we would certainly appreciate the help. And I think with that pretty much sums it up. We do have a project that we're getting ready to start down at Roland. We're in the process of designing a new casino there. The one we have is worn out, needs a lot of work, and we're going to have to do some in the interim. But we also want to maintain our competitive edge there and our market position there. And as you know, Pecola's just opened up a new casino down there over the last year, and then recently opened the hotel and entertainment center. So we don't want to fall far behind, and we'll have an answer for that shortly. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Councilor Fulbright.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear about Roland. It's long overdue, and it's going to make everybody happy down there. My original question was concerning the remodeling of the Cherokee Towers. I've stayed in all 3. They're my favorites. They're the most beautiful. Are they going to have to tear out the tile in the bathroom? That was so beautiful, the tile.
There is some of that. I don't know really what the scope of that would be. Anything that we could, that wasn't a detraction, I think we tried to save, but they may well be remodeling bathrooms.
Well, a lot of people are like me. They're just country people, and they go up there and they like that tower because it's got a little refrigerator in it. The others don't.
Right.
And, you know, me, I might want to stick Diet Coke in there or something.
Yeah.
And,
A lot of people just stick things in there.
well, I don't know, but I just thought it was a real convenience. So usually when I go, I ask to be put there. But anyway, will they still have that, or are they going to?
Yes.
That's good. Because, well, it's just, I don't know what it is. Maybe you don't want to wake up and go hunt a vending machine that
Right.
people like to have Coke at breakfast.
Well, a lot of people have medicine too that they need to
Yeah.
store that's refrigerated. So there'll be provision for that in there.
Well, I think they're really beautiful, so I hope we don't lose the Cherokee theming on all of them.
That's number one, and we've been working with people to make sure that doesn't happen.
Not that it's high priority, but I guess it's priority with me. I like beautiful things.
No, Cherokee theming in there is the highest priority that we have.
So, okay, that's, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Keenan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, on the roll and remodel, Sean, is that going to include the hotel as well?
The Roland?
Roland, I'm sorry.
I don't think that we have in the current plan, phase one, remodeling that hotel. Now, it's pretty new, and we spent some money when we bought it, but at some point, there may be a request to do something with that, to either make it bigger or something. What we're trying to do now is develop a master plan for the whole property. We're trying to work with Ginger and her group to get the rest of that in trust. That particular parcel there has different pieces to it. Some are in, some are out. The Travel Plaza is out. And I think at the latest, I believe it's May of 2015, we'll be able to make that application. We're trying to do some things with the to speed that up. There's no telling what will end up with it.
And then on switching over to diversified businesses.
Yes, sir.
How about C&I?
Absolutely. C&I, I believe it was in our June committee meetings, which would have probably been their May results, I think, have finally shown that they have kind of turned the corner from where they've been, and it started back the other way. We're working with them to try to develop a strategy to move forward that will be long-term for C&I. They've been really up against what's called offshoring, which is where they take the business and send it to Mexico and other places where there's cheap labor, and their labor is United States labor rates, so they've been at a disadvantage in their bidding. So what we're trying to do is find out how we can take what we already do, add to it, and come up with a product or a product line or something that's competitive and value added, and we can get higher margins and more orders. So I think starting in July and probably kick off in August, there'll be a concerted effort to try to put together a comprehensive plan for C&I.
I'm very glad to hear that. Then on the, for several months, I asked about the tribal council policy. And there was going to be a work group set up. Have you met yet?
I can respond to that. Yes, we did meet, the work committee did, and I need to get with Sean from what the work committee has told me instructed me to do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Watts, Walking Stick. Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Where are we at on a business plan for Woodmark and Cherry Springs?
Well, the Woodmark business plan, you're seeing that unfold. It's full. We have created approximately, when we're done, approximately 80 new jobs compared to where it was. We had 20.
So it'll be at 130?
We'll be at approximately 110. We had 20 in the early stages. So that facility is up and going, and we are currently in process of getting ready to put out an RFP for a master plan for the 140 acres on Highway 62.
You said 140 acres.
The south part of that, south of the golf course, whatever it is.
Okay, and then, so in the Sequoia County Times, and I forgot the follow-up article somehow. So, and I know Councilman Thornton may have more to say or add, I don't know, or Councilman Fulbright, but what's going on with the track Because somebody announced they were gonna get a bid, and then the next article that comes out, or sometime after that, a week after, it's like, well, we knew nothing about it, but we already have a contract on it. Do you?
The track is currently leased down there for a training facility. There's been a lot of discussion that if you drive by BRD and look at it from the highway, I-40, and also, I'm not sure what the highway number is that runs in front of it on the north side, that it needs some cleanup done. So one of the local groups proposed that they wanted to do a different training facility than what was already there, and that they would clean it up, this, that, and the other. And we said, well, first of all, we know we need to clean it up. The barns, we don't want them falling down on anybody. It looks junky in some areas running there, so we're going to put it out for bid. We're not just going to give it to somebody. And so that's what you saw on Monday of this week or last week, I'm not sure. But they had a pre-bid meeting, defined the scope of work. I think 5 tier one vendors showed up, and there's another week, I think, before they have to turn in what their bid is to do the cleanup for us there. The second part of what the guy proposed, we haven't made any decision about moving forward there or not. So the article in the paper, that reporter got wind of that. They called me. I said, we get proposals every day. This is nothing that I'm at liberty to discuss because we haven't decided anything. And they got a hold of somebody else outside the company that I guess was familiar with the project. And that's where they got that information.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Watkins.
Sean, what we're going to do if we can't fill some of the frontline positions in the restaurant and different venues? Yeah.
Well, we can't shut down the venues, so we're looking any time that we've got positions that are open. Our main goal is to fill them with Cherokee people. That's another reason for the request today. We do have several that are open, both at Catoosa and at West Siloam. Diane Kelly and her group are working on several different ideas to move the population maybe from here that want to work up there, and some help with transportation. When gas prices start hitting $3 and $3.50, it's hard for people to drive 2 or 3 hours, both ways to get to work. If they're driving an hour and a half one way and an hour and a half another, that's 3. It probably eats up half their paycheck. So Diane's working on helping us with situations like that, and we'll help out with that. The other option is that we hire temporary help and then replace them as we get a Cherokee. We've had to do that in the past.
You don't see us closing down the restaurant?
We've had to do some of that, but we're doing everything we can not to do that.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Lake.
Thank you. We moved some employees apparently from Pryor to Telequal. What do you have in store for Pryor to replace it?
Well, kind of the history there is that group originally was from Tahlequah, most of them, or a lot of them. And they were in the Homeland building here, and they decided that they needed to move the justices there while they remodeled the courthouse. So we said, hey, we've got a building up at Pryor, we'll move them up there and then see what happens. So that's how they got there. So a lot of them are coming back home, and that's a good thing for them. They're not having to make that drive every day. And if you have been to the Pryor building, you know that's one of the nicest buildings in that business park. And the first third of that building was occupied, or is occupied, by telecom and distribution. That's the C&I business that services AT&T customers. It's a fulfillment type business to where we have the product sitting on the shelf, and somebody that's using AT&T equipment somewhere on a construction project needs the equipment, and we ship that to them. So that's, to Dick's question and point, the first third has that in it. The TRG and television third still has some TVs in there. They haven't quite consolidated all of them to Woodmark, but that middle third had the TV TRG repair system. It's now either empty or being made empty. The back third is the Red Wing Metal Works and Baker Hughes machining part. And not only do we need the frontline people, but we need young Cherokee people that want to get in the machining business. We have a lot of work. Those jobs pay from $18 to $26 an hour. And we need anybody that we can that wants to get in, especially young people that want a career. I think there's some programs that'll help train them. So to answer Dick's question, what we're hoping is that Baker Hughes and the metal sheetwork, metal bending company, that business grows to occupy that whole building there. We'd eventually like to move telecom out.
Who's in charge of that?
Don Whittington is kind of the general manager over all of that for CNI. And there are, underneath them, there are several different young Cherokee people that are over various divisions. Jacob Bearpaw is one. I can't remember what. Aaron, his first name's Aaron, I believe, is over the sheet metal part. But if you have somebody you would like to refer, Don Whittington would be the place to start.
And what's the possibility of expanding that? I mean, I heard there's problems over there, so.
They've got more. Well, yeah, as problems. Machining in general can be a problem, but we've just hired a Cherokee man that's been a general manager. Baker Hughes has been supplying some of their help, their management, to try to get us off the ground, but we've only been doing this about a year, and what all of the Baker Hughes parts are these downhole parts and tools and pumps, or parts for them, that go in these oil wells that are deep well drilling. So, and the demand right now, Dick, is such that they've recently given us a price increase to continue in it, because we said we can't make money and we can't stay in the business. So they've given us a price increase there. We're looking forward to making that into a really high-tech machining center.
So, I mean, what's the plan? I didn't hear the plan.
The plan is to make it into a high-tech machining center and sheet metal shop.
So we're going to take young Cherokees who have no experience. We're going to have to train them. That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are training programs that are around that will be set up, and we've encouraged people to attend. But we also hire experienced help, and that's really what we're looking for now.
And if I have somebody to send to you, I have sent somebody to you and never heard back. So.
To me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you'll resend his name, I don't remember not replying to you.
Well, you get a lot of emails.
I get a lot of emails.
Council Fulbright.
Yes, back to food and beverage and
Yes, ma'am.
EBS. Have you ever considered, maybe since that's much harder labor than what a lot of the others do, that you might boost their pay up a little bit to keep them there or to entice them to stay?
I think they have looked at that, and I think given the current situation out just in the job market in general, especially at Tulsa, very, very low unemployment. People that want to work are generally working somewhere, especially in fast food right now, or the food industry. The housekeeping, the same issue as the travel has kind of come back over the last year and a half. Housekeepers are beginning to have their big jobs. So, to your point, we're looking at everything.
Well, I just wondered because I didn't know if they were starting out at the, is it 9:45?
I don't know the answer.
Well, I just was thinking here, and running it through my head, if they were paid a little bit more, maybe we could keep them.
Right. Well, we're looking into that.
Thank you.
Councilor Burke?
141 acres, that premium swampland, what are we doing with that?
Well, like I told Kara, we're on the verge of issuing an RFP for the master plan. We kind of have a general idea of what that property may look like, but we are going to engage a professional to help us develop that.
Yeah. Will we cut that grass? I mean, will we bail that,
We're
get a cut on it, I mean?
We've asked to have somebody ask, I'm not sure what the department is. It's open.
Natural resources.
Natural Resources, I'm sorry. To see if they're interested, and if they're not, then we'll put that out for bid.
Good. Good, Sean. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Fraley? Councilor Fraley?
You have to resolve the application process prior for the gentleman, the machinist who applied.
But we did look into that. Somebody reached out to them. I don't remember what the issue was there, but my understanding is that is resolved. They did call and talk to that individual that told you that. At least that's what I'm told.
Yeah, they weren't able to apply because they had to apply online. They didn't know how to apply online. There's about 4 machinists.
You'll get me their names and phone numbers. I'll personally make sure.
I'll send it
I know
to you.
the one.
I'll send it to you.
Were they on there? I sent it to them, and they said, "Fine." Follow up on that.
Thanks.
Councilor Manisbee?
Yes, so I wonder, could we possibly look at reconsidering maybe the GED high school requirement on the beginning level jobs that you're discussing that we're having a hard time filling? Would that maybe open up some more ability for some of our Cherokees to maybe get in those positions?
I'll be more than happy to ask. I don't know.
I don't know if that's a hindrance or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I know that on several occasions on the government side, in a beginning level position, that we could not see why it was a requirement.
Yeah.
It
I can get
kept
Mark
people
and
from-
Gary, and we can figure that out in an hour. So.
Thank you. I know you're having a hard time with it because those jobs right now, everybody's trying to hire them. Everybody's trying to hire those positions. I would encourage anyone on this body, let's help them. If we know of someone that might qualify for those positions, let's get those names up there and let's put these folks together with their human resource. And if they need some training, let's put them with Diane Kelly. They'll be starting another culinary arts class at Job Corps here pretty quick. We need people to fill these positions. We're short. If you were part of the CMB meeting the other day, I believe there's at least 54 openings in that area, and it's becoming critical. We can lose some of our food service competitiveness if we don't figure out how to get people in those positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Any further questions for Mr. Slade? Sean, thank you for that.
Good report.
Thank you. Is there any need for me to stay through the rest of the agenda?
So,
Thank you.
Career Services, Diane Kelly.
Aunt told me not to say very much because she's got a lot to report. I'm just kidding. This has been a very exciting month for us. Of course, summer youth started with 500 plus youth. All the counselors have done a real good job, kept up with the training, C&B referrals, and still did the summer youth employment. And I think most of you have t-shirts that we handed out from Jeff Vance and his staff. If the sizes are wrong, just get with Gail. We'll give you the right size. I promise that we didn't give some big ones and little ones. We just kind of had to make a guess, and I apologize if we got the wrong size. We just recently moved our offices. If you've been looking for some of our counselors, we are now almost out the door. We are down on the very far end of the building. If you're gonna go out the door to the Marshall's building, hang a right, and that's where you're gonna find most of the counselors. We moved our chairs. I don't think registration was happy, but those chairs were bought with one of the programs, so we had to move them down there because we know Monday morning, those chairs are gonna be full, and the counselors, some of them said that they didn't want to have to walk down the hall and turn the corner to go down there to look for the clients, so we moved the chairs, some of the chairs down, but we put a few back over there because we still got Andy and Ben and Amy over there working on that end. Got the television installed at Salisal. Just wanted to bring that up. And July the 10th, we'll have all of our summer youth kids at the Talking Leagues Job Corps. Talking Leagues is out for their summer break. So we bring in all of our summer youth kids over to the Job Corps, and we have a youth day. Jack, you've been over there for that at different times. Kara, I know you came over. So at different times, we've had different counselors come over, so we would encourage you to come over. If you come over, they may give you another t-shirt, only this one's gonna be pink. I don't know who picked the colors out, but anyway, we're gonna have all of our kids over there, so we'd love to have you come over. We'll even feed you. Day training, last Monday, we had probably more last week than we've had since probably Christmas in January. We don't know what happened, but we had an influx. The influx is coming in here in Cherokee County. And I want to share this with you because you probably don't know this. We had the job fair last week up in Tulsa, and my staff briefed out with me on the job fair. There was 137 people that came through that job fair. Vivian and her team had a preliminary job fair on Wednesday where they brought in people that were already in their system. So they saw close to 50-something people on Wednesday. We had 137. The caliber of people that came in up there came ready with resumes, and I would say probably a good many of them came in suits. And you don't see that down in this part of the country when they come in for those job fairs. A lot of times we're having to work with them to get those resumes done. So you got a lot of people up there that fell into the higher category more so than the cutlery jobs that were available. We had Trinity Welding there, and we were looking for welders, $19 an hour jobs. Well, guess what? Some of those welders that are coming from Delaware and Cherokee County are driving up there. They're going to carpool, $19 an hour, and we got them jobs right there on the spot. As Sean said, they hired 27 of those applicants there on the spot that day. We have another job fair scheduled at West Alum Springs on July the 17th. And we know that there's going to probably be a lot more applicants just by virtue of the people that's coming in for day work. Out of those 127, we had a table set up to see how many of those come through that job fair that would qualify for day work. Only 70 out of 127 qualified for day work. We are scheduling at the Muskogee ICTC Eating Capital. They have a culinary arts department over there, and Mrs. Bolton is going to come in and she's going to teach a week-long culinary fast-track class for us starting the middle of July. We're working with Tony Corday up at Northeast area to do one as well. We're going to try to start meeting with CNE. I've got Sean to agree so that we're not caught again like this, so that we're meeting with them on a monthly basis so that we can keep these professions or these career paths in line so that we can keep specialized training going and that we can keep people in their pipeline from here on out so that we have some tribal members to pull from. So we are working strategically with them on that. Monday morning, Andy and his team will be down there working with the day work line, and they're going to go to the payouts today and tomorrow. And we're working with CATS Transportation to see what we can get worked out if we have to pay them to transport. But we're looking at some day workers that possibly will go from down here up there to Catoosa to work because we don't have enough job sites in this area for all the day workers. And some of them we've had to turn away because we just don't have the job sites for them. And anyway, if you see Andy, pat him on the back because he's struggling. He's had his own personal problems going on, and he's doing a fantastic job, and he's doing an outstanding job on these referrals. We had a meeting this past week. We had Robert Garcia from the AG's office in there. He's our attorney that works with us on Tarot. We met with Bob Thomas, Jamie Hummingbird, Daryl Legg, Jeff Vance, Brenda Fitzgerald, myself, we had a conference call, and it had to do with felons, with the different levels of felons, and working with the gaming to see if we can't get more of those people that could just wash dishes, or people that could clean bathrooms, identifying specific levels so that we could get some of these people in some of these jobs. We've got some people that committed felons back when they were 16 and 17 years old, and some of them are 50-something years old today. And they just didn't have the money to go and take care of that, but they've been working other places, and they're willing to take on these landscaping jobs and do these jobs that are needed out there. So Robert was in there with us, and we're working with them to try to get that rectified so that we can have some avenues to put some of these people to work. We're not talking about people that have gone out and committed murder or rape or whatever, but we're talking about these lower level areas. And Jamie was open and amenable to working with us, and then we would actually go before their gaming commission on this. We are working with the reentry program. Daryl Legg hosted a meeting this past week with the Oneida Tribe of Wisconsin, the Chickasaw Nation, and Creek Nation, and I want to thank Councilwoman Fulbright for attending that, along with Chief Baker. We hosted them. They were actually here to learn about what we were doing. We also went down to Chickasaw Nation. I had a team go down there to look at their sod farm that they have going for their reentry program. They were also over at the Creek Nation to see what they were doing so that we can help develop something for some of our people that fall into that. So you'll hear more about that to come. We have had 2 meetings by conference call with AERT out of Watson, Westville. And they obtained a contract with Walmart to do an assembly line, which is furniture refurnishing. I mean, it's assembly line furniture. They're looking at us to do that assembly line work. I got an email from Mr. Drinkwater this morning. They got another contract. So we're looking at 2 birds when we have this meeting, and it'll probably be sometime after the 4th of July holiday. But they're looking at Cherokee Nation Industries to help them with this assembly line work with these contracts they got with Walmart. Then they'll come in and do the polyurethane coating on that, and then they'll ship it out. They've got these contracts so that they've got to deliver on between now and the spring. Al said he couldn't go into detail on this other contract, but he would have more probably tomorrow for me on this. Commerce Department, Stephen Hires and I met with Siloam Springs, not West Siloam Springs, but Siloam Springs. They are looking at the Franklin Electric building, which is a huge building for an assembly line, and they're looking at a contract where they put these little plastic toys that you see, these little 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds ride with a battery pack. Well, they're looking at an assembly line, but guess where they're looking at the labor pool? Delaware and Adair County. They realize that in Arkansas, they don't have the caliber of people that do the assembly line type work, because when you look at their demographics and the type of jobs that they've got up there, they're high-tech type jobs, college type jobs, and they don't have the assembly line down other than what they've got going on at Lazy Boy and at Gates Rubber. So they're going to depend very heavily on Delaware County and Adair County for that assembly line work. If they get the contract, they're looking at sometime this fall, and Gary and Wayne said that they would do a follow-up meeting with us on that here in the next couple of weeks. So that is jobs in Arkansas, but it's looking at Oklahoma for that crossover so that we can have some things going there. We have a contract with Cell Phone in Salisaw, and Michelle reported to me that 3 of our OJTs that were picked up on staff have moved up to supervisor, and that they are asking for more OJTs. We've supplied them with about 23 or 27, somewhere in there, at the cell phone plant there in Salisaw. And they were very pleased with the workforce that we've delivered on there. Next Gen Lighting, we've had a training program going on out at the VOTEC with Next Gen Lighting, who is partnered with Cherokee Nation Industries. And I've got 6 day workers out there in day training that have been doing these assembly line work on these lights to see how long it's taking them to put these things together, because they have a contract for the lighting, and once they determine how long it's going to take them to put these lights together, then that will determine how many they're going to need to do an assembly line for X number of lights. So that's going on. And the Next Gen company out of Claremore I spoke with Mr. Cho, who owns that company, and their funding actually came through this past week. So hopefully we'll be doing something up in the Clearmore area here in the next several weeks or several months. A lot of things going on. A lot of people coming to the table asking Cherokee Nation to help with labor. And hopefully, I hope it doesn't all happen at the same time, but it kind of seems like it may. But we've got a lot of work to do. And we need all your all's help in anything that you can do to help us with where we might go. We're going to be sitting down with C&B to see what we can do to ask them if their recruiters could come out to our grassroots communities and help recruit some of our Cherokees. Because we know where the people are, but they've got the recruiters, and if we could pull those recruiters out to help us out, it would help us a lot. Because most of my staff are working with federal programs and a lot of our programs that we have here, and I'm having to pull them off to do these in-house things. The National Tarot will be next week at the Hard Rock. And I want to remind everybody that October 13th through the 18th is National Conference of American Indians. For those of you that went out there to Reno this week, we will actually start the planning. It'll be going full steam ahead next week. We've had planning meetings every month. And we hope to have a good turnout. We really want to get out there and support all of our Cherokee people that in their endeavors and with these committees that they're working on. That's pretty much my report. Are there any questions?
Yes, I just wanted to commend you. I've interacted with you and your department numerous times this month, and I was just amazed at how many things you're juggling. From helping out with the charitable contributions, to finding people to put into jobs, to getting people into training. I just want to commend you for all you've been doing. I know it's a 24/7 deal you're doing there. You and your department are doing a fabulous job. Thank you.
We all love our jobs. We really do.
Thank you, Mr. And Diane, I think it's later on the agenda, but I know you've been working on this issue with tarot and tarot fees. You thinking about a month's time, you'd be close to having a report for us and information perhaps?
Yes, sir. As I said, A.G. Garcia has been working with John and I, and we will have something to present to you on the fees with a date. We've met with Bob Thomas at C&E, and when we can retroactive that back, and we can also give you information about the training and what we've actually done with that. Are there any questions?
I had Councilor Lay and then I had Councilor Fulbright. I had Councilor Lay next.
Thank you, sir. That was a good report and a long one, but here, something you said that just kind of struck me. I mean, you're actually getting C&B recruiters to come out to where the Cherokee people are. That's amazing. Thank you for.
Well, we haven't done it yet.
Well,
we're going to have meetings with them Monday and see what we
they
can
better
do.
get out here is all this council has anything to say.
Okay.
I noticed that, you know, Mr. Slayton, and we heard this the other day, he's running out of food and beverage people. If he had given you enough lead time, I think you could have found him. It seems that they wait until there's a crisis and then jump up and say, we have to hire non-Indians now because we're out of people. And that just kind of very disconcerting to me. And as you know, I told him so. We've not even, I felt like he wanted us to relax payroll rules that really haven't been put in place. And I'm just adamantly opposed to that. I'm not going down that road, and I'm going to fight that. I don't think C&B runs this place. I think the council and the chief, executive and legislative branch run the Cherokee Nation. We set the laws, and I hope he's watching, because the tail's not going to wag the dog. I'm very upset about that meeting, and it was a very eye-opening meeting to me to see someone at the top of the heat at C&B want us to relax payroll and allow him to hire non-Indians. And that's all I want to say.
Councilman Lay, we had a management team meeting, and all of our managers in career services know that this is a top priority, high priority, and they are all working diligently, and we're all mapping this out. And we've asked Mr. Thomas and his staff to sit down with us, and we're doing that. And hopefully, give us a few months, and we will make sure that we're not caught like this again.
Councilor Fulbright.
Thank you. First off, I want to say you're doing a phenomenal job. I don't know how you wear all the hats you do, but I did go down to Sallisaw to the cell phone plant, and we were so pleased with the reception that we got from the owner and the plant manager, and we were so happy with Michelle and Teresa and the GED program, and how we had these on-the-job training people move over, and some of them were already moving up to supervisors. They're going to hire a lot more people, and they're going to hire Cherokees, and so I think you're doing a great job there. But I wanted to publicly thank Darrell Legg for getting us all together on the reentry program for the felons and bringing the Oneidas down, and I really enjoyed the visit with the Chickasaws. We learned a lot from them, and the Oneidas they bought an old motel and put their prisoners returning, in that motel up to a year. They have a sod farm where they go out to work, and if they complete the program, they give them a tribal pardon, and that pardon qualifies them for any housing or any program that their tribe has. And I thought that might be something that we could look at in the future. But we don't exactly have the same kind of reentry program they do, but ours is more of a hodgepodge to fit the person, but we do offer them all kinds of services. So I learned a lot. I'm glad Darrell took the trouble, to set all that up, and I just think you're doing a great job, and I'm still thinking about what he's thinking about on the food and beverage, but I would like to see those people making a little bit more money. I think money entices people more for a job than, especially when we're competing in Tulsa, all the fast food up there. I think you're doing a really great job.
Thank you, I've got good staff. And one of the things you pointed out was the environment. I think that we have to look at the environment from Sallisaw all the way up to Tucson, because you're talking about a different environment, different culture up there than what you have down here in Adair and Sequoia County. And we have to work with the people down in this area a little more than what we are. We're challenged in terms of what we can do.
Thank you, Councilor Fulbright. For Councilor Walker.
Hey, Diane, you remember the surgical tech program?
The surgical tech? Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
with Patty Sumner.
Yes.
She had approached me after the graduation, and there's approximately 5 students that get in the program. And what she's experienced in the past is the classes that they paid a $20 stipend to, that they had a high dropout rate. But the classes that they paid $7.25 an hour, this is a full-time schooling, 40 hours a week, that they had 100% retention rate. And I guess the results of that program is all the students that graduate from there, they got 100% that pass their course when they get out of that schooling. And the thing is, we can't really do anything. It's something I'm going to approach this body with as far as appropriating that program. Is there some funding that can go to October? Because these kids start school in August.
Let me get with Jen Grogan and Darrell and find out exactly how they got that broken out. See, Jen Grogan has that medical program where it's the nursing end of it.
Yeah.
She funds some of those students, and then some of them are funded through the vocational.
Okay.
So,
well, they're just 5 students, and we could pay them $7.25 an hour.
what you're talking about is making it across the board. We can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, with the surgical tech kids, and instead of the $20 stipend, and then hopefully this body, and when we go through our budget, we can allocate monies where they need to go, so we can make that program go and be successful.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll look into it.
All right,
Get
thanks,
back.
Diane. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Baker.
Yes, I agree with Councilor Fulbright, which is talking about maybe the amount of money that's being paid. It's been 5 years since we raised, I think around 5 years, since we raised the minimum wage to $9. So I'm thinking maybe we should look at raising the minimum wage. I was going to ask Diane's opinion on this, but I thought maybe I better not put her on the spot to comment on that. So, but I think we should consider that.
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Thornton.
Yes, I was just wanted to echo what the other councilors have said, Diane, about how great a job you're doing, how great a job our people are doing. And I was at that cell flow meeting, and there was a representative from C&B down there, employment, and that if he didn't start trying to sell this CEO of lights from our lighting company that we got started, that it is really something. He demonstrated the lighting there, and it was really something. So he could save them, we could save them quite a bit of money a year on that lighting. And I think he may have sold it. And he was talking about Greg, I think he's the owner, and he started talking about, putting it in other companies that he has. So they just got to put some lighting together, but this can save $100,000 a year.
We're hoping to do a job fair with all of these different partners and bring them here to the Capitol for a job fair so that you all can see firsthand all the stuff that we're doing and see even some of the people that have actually been hired in those businesses. And we hope to be able to do a construction fair with what we're doing with the health department in August or September. So John's going to be working on that. So we're going to be doing a lot of fairs.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further questions for Diane Kelly?
Thank you, and congratulations to all of you all since the election's over with. Y'all all did a good job.
Hannah Knight's comments.
A lot to report today. Actually, I will tell you that we've been kind of short on loan money, and we got a call from Congressman Mullen's office last week, and the Rural Business Enterprise Grant that we applied for $500,000 for commercial lending was approved. So hopefully we'll be getting that in the next couple of months. Other than that, you have a copy of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Knight? Yes, Ms. Speakers.
I want to commend you too for getting that assistance, mortgage assistance raised to $25,000. Job well done.
Any further questions for Ms. Knight? Thank you. We have a representative from the Historical Society. Okay. Mr. Kelly, Ms. Chapman.
I would like to make a motion to recess this meeting to immediately reconvene after our special council meeting, which begins at 4:30 here in this room.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, we're standing recess till after the conclusion of the special council meeting.
Yeah, the meeting's here. Yeah.
Where's our council?
Would that be okay, 5-minute break, Chuck? Just to do the special meeting, and it's here. Everybody needs to stay.
Make a motion that you approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Cemetery restoration assistance applications.
Chairman, Spadden Cemetery, Howard King.
Spadden? Any other? McSpadden Cemetery? Councilor Baker?
Was the Pumpkin Holler and Pumpkin Center Cemetery the same?
Gail had already, if I could respond,
Yes,
Gail had already investigated that, and yes, they are separate. She had actually got everybody on the phone, and then they did some looking. She's pretty good at trying to watch those things. I do, if I could, I need to make everyone aware that we will bring policies forth next month, update policies for the cemetery situation because we've had a government entity that applied and received funding for 10 different cemeteries. And this is what has brought our account down. No, I always look to my left, Mr. Thornton, I'm not looking at you. But I believe from talking to several different counselors that was a misunderstanding, and we will bring forward policies next month for your review to make sure that if that is a feeling of the majority of the council, that doesn't happen again. And also, I will be asking to, I probably need to have Diane tell me on this, we need to reload the cemetery funds. And there is some carryover funds from motor fuel tax, which is where this fund comes from.
Correct.
So I will be asking, I'm not sure that this is appropriate at this point, but before we get to the budget mod today, I'll be asking that be put in the budget mod, an additional $25,000, so that we have sufficient funds to carry through the purpose of what we're doing here with the cemetery fund.
Very good. Anything further, Madam Speaker?
That's it.
Councilman Blake?
Yes, sir, thank you. And if I could ask the question, I see Rogers County Commissioners, is that what the speaker was referring to? Are there 10 cemeteries from the Rogers County Commissioners?
Yes.
Is that normal for county commissioners?
It's actually the first time that we've noticed that many come through. There was one or two the year before, I guess, to test the water, and this year they just popped us for 10. And I just need to know the direction of this body, because if you have one commissioner do that, you can expect all commissioners are going to do that. Then you no longer have this fund as you know it. So that's why, after several of you have talked to me about it, I'll get with our legal counsel to try to prepare the appropriate policies and present those to you next time.
And I'm wondering, this policy was here before I got here, and this assistance program, has it ever been used? Are we just going to send it to all the county commissioners in 14 counties and let them run with it?
I'm going to write the policy for your consideration that we not allow a governmental entity such as the county commissioner's office to apply for these funds.
Here's the deal, folks, on these cemeteries at statehood. I mean, I've got several of them that are now private property of my family, and we can't get them to take care of them. Can't get the county commissioner to take care of them. At statehood, the state was supposed to take them all over through the county commissioner system, and they may have and they may not have, and they probably didn't fund it, and I know they don't fund it today. And so I thought this was a really neat little program when I got here, to know what's going on. And how many? That's $5,000 in one shot.
And I can tell you this, if I could respond. That individual called and wanted to buy a lawnmower to take care of all 10 cemeteries. And of course, the question is, well, what if a cemetery decides next year to pull out? Do you give them a wheel off the lawnmower, or what do you know, what part of the lawnmower are they going to get? And then the next question was, well, if we don't use it for a lawnmower, can we just pay our help their wages? So I think what this could turn into is the county's just got additional funding to pay their help, to do a job that apparently they've already been employed to do work 8 hours a day for the county. I was advised, and we're looking into it, that there is some special laws with commissioners and cemeteries and money, and so we are going to ask that we get a review of that. The check has already been sent. it was sent a week later. And then questions, we started looking into this and realized that it was all signed by the same person, and it was signed in his capacity as a county commissioner.
So we can't hold these out and vote on them separately? We've already paid them.
They were voted on last month. I guess we could ask for the check back.
Well, I've got a cemetery in Rogers County, and I don't see my owner, okay? And my guess is there are dozens and dozens of cemeteries in Rogers County. This may just be one commissioner from one district. I know Nowata County would love to have $5,000 a shot. Washington County would. Craig and Mays would. And we're all still serving those 4 counties. I don't. This was a nice little thing for small groups to take care of these old cemeteries that don't get help anymore from these county commissioners. These county commissioners don't help these cemeteries. They don't mow them normally. And now we're gonna give $5,000 a shot to one guy. I'm gonna ask that that be split out and we'll vote on it separately.
And that was approved last month, so these cemeteries, there's no new additions that are from these county commissioners, is that correct?
No.
Last month, the body, and traditionally we rely on each other to evaluate cemeteries in our district, determine whether it's warrants
Are
funding.
we gonna have to assign somebody to look at these cemeteries from now on to make sure this doesn't happen?
I think if I could respond,
He'll yield to you, we've got others on the list.
I think I can bring forth a policy that will take care of this, and we can't afford it, Mr. Lay, because we have 14 counties, 3 commissioners to a county. If everybody tried to get $5,000 from us, that's $210,000. And that would mean no little organization that takes care of an individual cemetery would be served. I will bring the policy to you, and I will bring it to you next month, and we can act as swift as this body would like to do on this issue.
Councilman Lane, you still have the floor. Okay, very good. Councilor Canwatts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So from what I can recall, without having actual data in front of me, I know that at one point Chelsea, City of Chelsea Cemetery was awarded money under this program, and it was to buy a tractor because Chief Milam is buried in that cemetery, and a number of other key McSpadden family members. But I know in our area that a lot of our tribal cemeteries were awarded to the county at statehood, and they are responsible, at least this one commissioner really takes care of all these cemeteries, and he knows they have to be Cherokee cemeteries majority. And it's actually, he's been seeking money through this program for several years from what I recall. I don't happen to know what last year's was. When he has to do fence repairs and other stuff, that's what it's been for in the past. I know at Winganon, there was a huge, massive, there was headstones destroyed, and he had no other monies to repair those headstones. And they were historic headstones in terms of our Cherokee history and Cherokee families, and he used this money to repair those at that time, and that was part of the key deal when these folks came through and vandalized the cemetery. So it's already been approved, and Constitution specific, nothing can be retroactive. I don't think there's anything new. There may be like more that he's seen, that there's a need, that he's looking at stuff. I didn't understand that there was the tractor versus labor and those kind of things. I know we pay for labor from other folks, but he has an obligation, and these cemeteries don't have the same kind of family funds. They're took care of by the county from what I understand, so it's a different setup in our community. So I'm sure he'd like to visit with anybody that would have any questions about it, and I believe to answer Councilman Lay's question, he would need to seek out Commissioner Helm for his area if there's a Rogers County Cemetery question for him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Walkingston.
Yeah, I was like to make a recommendation for right response yet, Speaker, is that is that we have some kind of documentation of the 51%. I mean, I guess every cemetery has a roll of the list of names that we can partner with registration.
Councilor Washington, would you yield for this?
Yes, go ahead.
The policy on the cemetery is actually twofold. It's either majority Cherokees buried there, or it's this is a paraphrase, of historical significance of the Cherokee Nation. It might be difficult to go at each cemetery, but the fact of the matter is, almost all of these little cemeteries, all over the 14 counties, are of some historical significance. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out too.
And the other thing is the accountability of the money that we give to these cemeteries. If we could get a receipt system, you know, we could get a receipt.
We have one.
We
We have
a
a
receipt.
receipt system.
We have a policy too.
Might I just respond?
We
I
yield.
think we can take care of this whole situation. It's happened. I don't think anyone's saying at this point, unless we see something in the law that someone's used money illegally, it's just not the purpose for which this fund was established. It wasn't established to fund, in my opinion, I've been here 6 years, Mr. Thornton's been here a lot longer, and I think you were here when it was formed, when this was done, but my understanding has always been it was for the little organizations trying to take care of the individual cemeteries. I think a paragraph in our policies will take care of it. We will bring that paragraph back to you next month, and if a majority of you all are to the liking of our wording, then I think we take care of this problem and it never happens again.
Next question is, who's over taking in receipts along with this people counting?
There is a
Would you
lady.
yield to the speaker?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
There is a lady that for years has taken care of it over in admin, and she has some additional suggestions, because she has problems getting receipts from folks. But our penalty for not giving a receipt that equals the amount of money that we have given you is you don't get to apply for the program next year. You can't successfully receive this money a second time. And we have on occasion had individuals that would not provide us the receipt, and they were no longer eligible for this money. We've noticed some situations, and we will try to address those. And if you all will just, I want to make you aware of it this month. Next month, with your patience, I will come back with some wording for you, and hopefully it will be to everyone's liking. We will take care of this situation. I think it's a misunderstanding. It had, maybe our flexibility and our policies had unintended consequences, but we can fix it. And I will bring that wording back to you if you all will be patient with me. I'll get something, I'll get with our lawyer here, and we'll make sure that we get you some wording next month to take care of it.
So these 10 that we had last month, I guess.
He will have to provide receipts showing that he has spent the money on those cemeteries, and it has been explained to him that he can't just lump it all together and say, I spent this much on hourly wages. He's going to have to break it out for each cemetery, as everybody else has to do, and show that he provided, or that there was services provided to that cemetery. I'm sorry, folks, it did go through committee though, and I can only do what you as a committee instruct us to do with your votes, but it's weighed on my mind all month that this happened, and I wanted you all to be aware of it, because I felt like sometimes we get we're lulled into a sense of security over these consent items, and we need to watch each one of our county cemeteries. And I'm going to have Gail go back to the old way of you all are going to be asked to approve each and every one of your cemeteries in your communities. So if something like this slips by again, we're going to have to go back to that particular counselor and say, now, what was our reasoning here? We just need to be a little more mindful, tighten our rules up a little bit, and see that if this is not what a majority of this body wanted, see that it doesn't happen again.
Okay. So, thanks.
Councilor Washington, we have Councilor Fulbright, Councilor Fishing not left on the list. Councilor Fulbright.
Thank you. This is a wonderful program for what it was intended for. We've recovered a lot of old cemeteries that were grown-up families that worked hard, turned in their receipts, and it's really worked well in Sequoia County. But a fine example of what's going on here today is the Blair Cemetery at Sequoia's home site. And I'm a Blair descendant, so is Councilor Garvin. We attend. And the cemetery used to be taken care of by the Blair family, and we would take up donations every year. But that was all deeded over to the state of Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Historical Society takes care of it. Last year, someone asked me at the reunion, can we fill out for the $500? I said, no, not the way I see it. I said, this cemetery is well taken care of by the state. We have a hired curator here. It belongs to them, and they have the deed. And I don't think Cherokee Nation needs to be given $500 because it's taken care of by the state. And that's kind of the same situation here. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Fishing not.
Oh, I was only going to say, the only problem I have with the county commissioner that asked if money could be used for his employees' wages.
It actually wasn't the commissioner, it was us. It was the commissioner's representative, secretary, personal assistant, administrative assistant.
That asked if it could be used for the county workers' wages.
Okay. Someone that they had employed with the county, they wanted to pay their wages.
Still up, Councilor Fishing. Anything further?
No, that's all.
Very good. Right, well, we actually need a motion to approve the list as it's been modified.
Your problem. Second, whatever.
The motion to approve, we have a second. Madam Speaker, second the
Yes.
approval. All right, so we have the, Jody, do you have the additions that you
Yes.
see? All right, so all those in favor of approving has been amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, next we have community assistance.
Move to approve. Second.
To approve in a second. Jody, we have a modified
Yeah, there was
version.
revised handout.
All right, any amendments to this revised list?
Did we get that here?
Yeah. Handed out.
Okay,
About
well, okay. I have a revision, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Jody on CAC Farm, that'll be $22.50 each one of those. And then as Rogers County Historical Association, $250 each. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good, Councilor, any further additions?
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion or a second on this? Yeah, we have a motion. All right, all those in favor of the community assistance amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, we now move on to law enforcement requests.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any additions to the list as it's been already modified? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Now we move on to roads.
Move to approve. Second.
To approve, is it in our book? We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Sports team application, do we have, I don't know about, there we go, we have a report in front of us.
Move to approve what's in front of us.
Approve, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Livestock auction
Move to
funding.
approve.
Second. Approve, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
May I just,
Madam Speaker,
I
yes.
know y'all are, we actually don't have the policies in place, but I want to explain why this one is on there. They had applied over in admin, and then we were moving the money and moving the control at the same time. So this one is an older one that needed to go ahead and get approved, to clean it out. Then we start, I'll bring your policies to you next month, and hopefully they get approved.
All right, we now move on to old business. I believe that Diane Kelly touched on this earlier in her report. This is yours, Councilor Cameron Watt, construction Terrell fees.
Well, I didn't know about any work group, but I understand a work group on my agenda item had been convened, so I'd like to table it for 1 month and work with the chair to figure out what's actually going on.
I think that, as Diane Kelly said earlier, she'll be prepared within about a month's time to report to us, so I think in a month's time we'll have some.
Will I get to participate in the work group on my agenda item?
We'll put you in the loop in some form or fashion, Councilor.
Oh, so I'll get a note after that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, second table. All those in favor say aye. It's not very passionate. All those opposed, same sign. All right, it is tabled.
Number 2.
Now speaking number 2.
I have worked diligently with admin and with, I believe, Ms. Kelly on this. We're down to only 2 that haven't been taken care of. I would like to just give them another month, and I think we'll have those resolved, and then all your charitable contributions will be out.
All right, so motion to table, we have a second.
Motion table.
Second on the motion to table.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, now we're down to new business. Madam Speaker.
I would like to put forth a motion to approve this budget mod with the addition of adding in $25,000 of motor fuel tax carryover money into the cemetery fund to reload that fund.
Second motion.
Second to approve with that modification has been seconded. Mr. East, anything to point out to us?
Well, I was going to point out one item on my memo, item number 1. I guess it's not a mistake if I find it before anybody else finds it. Where it says general fund operations, it's actually the charitable contributions accounting unit, so just wanted to point that out.
Any questions for Mr. Reese? All right. This is an act. Let's go by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Any announcements?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.